Hi, today we're talking to Emma from Ashford in Kent. Hi Emma, how are you today?
Thank you.
Good. Do you want to share with us your story and your journey so far?
Yeah, okay. So on the beginning of October 2017, I had my one and only stroke. I woke up in the morning, I was getting ready for work. I'm a group fitness instructor. So I was brushing my teeth. I remember leaning to one side, I collapsed on the floor. That's the last thing I remember. My husband must have come in about 10 minutes later. Thankfully, he hadn't gone to work yet. And he obviously phoned the paramedics, and they came quite quickly rather. I think I had three ambulances out the front of the house. This is what people are telling me. So 3 ambulances outside the house and 6 paramedics in the house.
Wow.
I remember waking up, laying on my bed. I had 6 paramedics around the bed, and then I blacked out again. Next thing I remember was waking up in London. Actually, no, sorry, I was taken to the local hospital in Ashford, and they performed a thrombolysis on me, but that didn't work. So the guy who was in charge at the time said he'd fly me from Ashford to London. So I was flown by air ambulance to St George's in London, and they performed a thrombectomy. Sorry, I can't put words. Thrombectomy, and so that happened in the morning. My husband had to get on the train from Ashford all the way up to London. He didn't even go on the air ambulance. In the time it took him to get there, I was treated and I was back in recovery. So I remember waking up in the bed and had all the staff around me. My husband was there at the time, and I said, "Oh, where am I?" And I said, "Oh, we're in London." I said, "I'm in London." I said, "What's going on? Why am I here?" I didn't even know I'd had a stroke at that time.
Oh my God.
And the lady said, "Oh, you've had a stroke." I said, "Really? I had a stroke?" Or something like that. I'm probably not that lucid, but yeah. Yeah, so, and I stayed in St George's for 4 days. It was really hard going because everyone in the ward was they had much more what's the word? Put words in the mouth. They were worse off than I was. Yeah. I could walk to the toilet, or just about walk to the toilet, but they were really bad. I didn't want to be in there anymore. It was so depressing, and I felt just sitting there watching the machines go all the time down. So I persuaded them to drive me from London back to Ashford. So I was back on my own hospital, which is nice because I was close to home. I hadn't seen my kids for 5 days. In fact, I didn't see them for nearly a week and a half because they weren't allowed in hospital at the time, just because I didn't want to bring them in. And so I stayed in hospital in Ashford for 3 more days after I was driven back down from London. So 4 more days. And then I was released. So released from hospital. And yes, so that's my story in a nutshell. So when I came back, they performed lots of tests on me, and I had a bubble echogram, and that showed I had a hole in the heart. And so I had that in about 2018. So I had the hole in the heart diagnosed in 2018, and I went up to London sort of a couple of months later and saw the cardio. I can't remember what it's called. Sorry.
That's okay. The cardio person.
So I saw the surgeon, and he said he can offer a PFO, which means they stick a little gadget in the heart and it closes the heart. So I had that done in 2019, December 2019. So yes, I don't know what else.
So what other issues has your stroke left you with? You've got your PFO all closed and everything.
That's all good now. So I had that. I went back up to London a couple of weeks ago and had another bubble echogram, and I could see it quite clearly. All the bubbles travelling up one side of the heart and not down. That's really good. So in terms of stroke injury, as I say, I'm a group fitness instructor, and I had to take 4 months off work after I had my stroke, and I can't move my right side as well as my left.
Yeah.
But like doing dance moves, so step curl, for example, I lift my heel up to my butt, so it goes halfway up. When I run on the spot, my leg comes up a little bit, not all the way up. Even today, still sort of thing, same sort of thing. Yeah, and when I reach up, my right hand doesn't go up as high as my left, or it feels like that anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm sure when I look at myself on Zoom, because I've been teaching on Zoom to people online, I reach up, I can see myself reaching up, and I have to lift my right hand a little bit more to get in line. Yeah. So other things, I can't write anymore. I can't write as well as anymore, so I should say as well. I used to write a lot, so now I start big. It gets tinier, a little scroll across the page, and I have to stop and think about what I'm writing each time. So I have to do one time, and I have to stop and think another letter. So it's really slow progress.
Right, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I write a list every week, and it takes me a good hour to write a list. I reckon I do it in 10 minutes beforehand. So yeah.
It's so frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you find your reading? Are you okay with reading things?
Yeah, I'm okay with reading. Yeah. Still enjoy a good book.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What about things like mental arithmetic and things like that? Is that all okay?
I
only ask because I have problems with that, so I'm just interested. Is it just me, or is there other people?
No, I'm okay with that largely, yeah. But sometimes, like now, even thinking about what I have to say, I have to really take my time and think about words, because I can't get them in my mouth. So I know what I want to say.
Yeah,
put them in my mouth is really a struggle for me sometimes.
Yeah.
Do
you find it's difficult if you're in I was going to say in a room full of people? That hasn't happened for a long time. But if you're in a room full of people and they're all talking at once, and you're somebody says something across the room to you and you're trying to reply, do you sometimes get that, oh, take me out of here?
Not so much, but then I don't speak so much anymore. So I prefer just to sit there and listen, because I can't irate myself so much. So yeah, if we're in a room and there's lots of people in the room, they talk, I just sit there and absorb, and I'll put in a word now and then, but I don't really join in the conversation so much anymore.
Do you know, I'm glad you said that, because that's how I am now. I just sit there, listen, and every so often make it look like I'm still here. I'm paying attention and say something, but just let everybody else get on with it, which is unusual for me.
Yeah.
So so I find it's easier if it's just one-to-one without any distractions in the background. I find as soon as, if my husband's talking to me and the TV's on in the background, my ears are tuning in on the TV, not on what he's saying. And the harder I try to listen to what he's saying, the louder the television seems to get. So it's bizarre, but it's peace and quiet. So but peace and quiet isn't something you've got in your house, is it, with 4 children?
Boys, yes, exactly.
4 teenage boys as well.
Boys, yeah.
So how's it been for you, and then this last year?
It's been quite hard. I mean, to be fair, my boys are they like playing on the Xbox and PlayStation, and we've let them do that this time. It's the only social interaction they get with their mates, because they can't go out and see them. They can't. So we've just let it ride this time. They've been doing their homeschooling. I would say back to school now, which is good. Peace and quiet at home. Yeah, so but it's good for them. They're getting back out to see their friends, even if it's only school. But yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, thank goodness technology is what it is now, because if this had happened when we were younger, you know, we just wouldn't have had that communication with our friends and everything. And I can't ever imagine school being closed either.
War, did they? So
I know, as soon as they closed the schools, I thought, oh crikey, this is getting serious. Then when they shut the shops as well, it's like, oh, doubly serious. And now I forget we've got shops up the road, because you just think, you know, we've got this big shopping centre. It hasn't been open, except Marks and Spencer's, because it's down one end. It hasn't been open down here since, it's been open for 2 weeks since the start of November. So when we came out of lockdown in November, we had 2 weeks to go shopping before they put us we went from tier 2 one day into tier 3, and then the very next day we went into tier 4, and that's it. So since November, we've had our non-essential shops open for 2 weeks, which is like bizarre. But now you forget they're there. You're just going automatically online, aren't you?
They're getting a good deal out of us at the moment, I tell you.
So are you looking at going back to work when the gym's open and things, or?
At the moment, well, funnily enough, I was made redundant from my leisure centre back in August last year. They closed it for refurbishment, and they took the opportunity to, rather than keep us on furlough, to make us all redundant. And hopefully, come July this year, we'll be back there. We have to apply for our positions and stuff. But I've set up my own business now, so I'm teaching classes locally in schools and things, which at the moment I can't do because of lockdown. But from next week, fingers crossed, I can go back to teaching outdoor classes. So I've been teaching on Zoom, just to keep people moving, keep them active, engaging a little bit with them as well. But everyone's just desperate to come back and meet people. So hopefully it'll be okay.
Yeah. I think you'll have plenty of business as people want to get rid of lockdown tummies and things like that. You know, even if we can only go on holiday in this country, we still want to look the part in the summer.
We always go on holiday in this country. Actually, when I had my stroke in 2017, 2 weeks later, we went to Centre Parks, Longleat Centre Parks, and see, my husband, when I had the stroke, he went out and bought myself a wheelchair, which I never used.
Yeah.
And he hired Centre Parks. So 2 weeks after a stroke, he hired an electric wheelchair for me at Centre Parks. So because we were so far from the centre, to put myself there and back. I used it for one day, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so painful. So I actually got myself on a bike, and I'm wobbling all over the place. Had to go really, really very slowly, and but we did it. So I cycled when I was Centre Parks 2 weeks after my stroke.
That was brave. Did you feel like you were there but not quite there?
I did do, yeah.
You know, I think it's the shock of everything we go through when we're told we're had a stroke. It's like, that's how I felt for I think the first few months at least. You know, you're there but you're not quite there, kind of thing. And
determined to make the holiday work for us. I could have just stayed at home and sat on the sofa for another week, but my boys wanted to get out. They wanted to, they want to go and experience. And I thought, I can't just sit on the sofa, even at Centre Parks, and just let them. Had to get myself out there. And we went and did paintballing as well, or not paintballing, a virtual paintball. So I did one round of that, completely wiped out. I sat down for the rest, and so that was like 5 minutes worth of work for me, and the rest of the hour boys went on their own, but I did it. I was there for them. So I just need to get out there and make myself move, otherwise who knows where I'd be. So,
and you want to try and keep life normal for the rest of the family, and we were supposed to go we were only going to Scotland back to our families in the immediate weeks after I had my stroke. So we had medical appointments, so we cancelled it, and we went, I think, the 3rd or 4th week after my stroke, and nobody told us that those first 4 weeks are a critical time because you could have another stroke. Nobody told us that. And off we went to Scotland, and while we were there, we went to a concert. Luckily, it was an outdoor concert. We had the tickets already, and my husband said, we don't have to go if you don't want to. And I thought, no, I'm going to go because we were both excited about the concert and everything. And luckily, we'd got tickets in what they call the gold area, so it was right at the front, and it was less crowded and everything. So I said to him, well, let's go, we can always leave if I don't feel comfortable and everything. And we got through the concert, but I can't really remember it now. I can remember being there, and I know I enjoyed it, but when you think, oh, the memory's not as clear as it should be, and then you hear, then I heard that you're not supposed to be doing these kind of things in the first few weeks after, like yourself. But life's life, and you've got to get on with it, haven't you?
With it, yeah.
So, well, hopefully it'll all work out for you. As I say, lockdown tummies and things like that.
Fingers crossed.
And you boys will enjoy back at school. Are any of them were they due to take exams this year?
Yeah, my eldest was due to take his A-levels this year. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for him.
Yes, I said to my son, just be nice to your teachers. If they're doing your grades, just be really nice and don't miss any classes.
Any classes, Work done.
Yeah, exactly. Do everything you're supposed to. You've only got a few more weeks. So, well, thank you very much for talking to us today, Emma. It was lovely to hear your story, and all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.